Amazing, amazing. Welcome, welcome, beautiful souls. Here we are with another glorious human being who I'm very, very honored and privileged to be helping within our soul seed mystic mind. It is the one, the only Becca Campbell from Becca Campbell Coaching. And it's been so cool because we've been chatting with some of our members that have moved on, some of the members that have been here since day one and they're still with us. And I think you at this point in time, Becca, would be our freshest
I
member.
think so,
So
yeah.
yeah, so it'll be really great to hear from you about your experience. So I was just running the Tall Poppy Voice Invisibility Challenge and really looking at this kind of new framework that I'm developing for a soul seed called the Soul Artistry Codes. I reckon this is the year for our full voice visibility, self-expression to really shine. And yeah, just having a look at the multidimensional weave that is a soul seed. And for you, there was a couple of things that popped up. I've really made a big effort, as we were chatting about before, to change up my sales pathway a bit within Soulseed. Now I'm teaching that framework within the program, so that it's really empowering people to make a sovereign choice. Because what I know for sure is that when you step into a space and you've come at it from a place of sovereignty, you're in your sacred yes, you're not feeling like you're doing it out of like FOMO or not enoughness and all of those things, that you have a really different experience. And you know this from my own journey as well. So shall we start there? Do you want to talk a little bit about maybe what drew you into the program? What made you say yes? And how did you find that decision making process, and how are you finding it so far? Anything really. You just take it away. Take the floor.
Well, I mean, thank you, first of all, for inviting me to have this conversation. I'm super happy to talk about this. And specifically, I feel like kind of for this reason, like this bit of the conversation, because I've, like so many of us, invested lots in the past. And prior to coming into this particular container, I had probably gone about 2.5 years of nothing. Mainly because like I tapped myself out financially and I was like, okay, nothing is working. I just need to like, I can't keep investing in things that aren't working. And also like, what's wrong with me? Because nothing seems to be working. But there was definitely a very different energy that I stepped in with in terms of like everything else I had invested in. It always kind of came from, like you're saying, like a place of lack, a place of I'm not enough, a place of like getting on a call with somebody and qualifying for a program and, having them take you through that process of this is what your life is going to be like if you don't do this and you need this and la la la, whatever. And then getting into the
Feel the
program and not,
pain.
yeah, like you're just going to live and like suffer forever. Not, they don't say it like that. They're much more, they're much
It's
more
slicker, but that's basically the
crafty
gist of it,
with
isn't it?
it. Yeah. And I mean, not to say that I didn't work with some amazing people and always learn something in those things, right? Like always either took away a skill or was introduced to something new or activated something. But when I stopped working with coaches, one of the things I had like solidified was like the next coach that I have is going to be a manifester in human design because I'm a manifester in human design. And I really felt like a lot of coaching doesn't like, we're just so different. We just operate so differently, I feel like, than the majority of like what is marketed through a lot of these programs. And so I just knew that it would be a manifester. And then when you came into my orbit, I knew it was going to be you. I knew it was going to be a little while, but it was like probably about a year before I kind of landed on you, before I stepped into Soul Seed. But there was something about it where I was like, I'm coming in because I want to receive support now. I feel like I'm capable of receiving support. And I understand that I'm going to be activated in this space into just more of myself. Not necessarily like, was I focused on coming and learning a new skill set? Like, I am learning lots of new things, but I just knew from my past experiences and from what I had already at this point learned about myself and my energy that that was the type of space that I needed. And I came in like totally at peace and knowing that it was just the right move versus in the past where I was like anxious and oh my God, like I got to do this because if I don't do this, then I'm never going to get to where I want to be. But like, is this really the right thing? Well, it must be the right thing because it's right here in front of me. And like all of the stories that I would just like carry along with me. And that would inevitably like just kind of also, once I get in there, I just never felt like I was able to receive any of the information or any of the support. I really struggled with showing up. I mean, even in our Telegram space, like I can get really overwhelmed by group chats and stuff, but that space itself, I just feel like it's there and I understand if I need it, I can step into it and I can ask any question or I can like go and shed some shame or I can like whatever I do, whatever I drop in there. Um, I just always feel like I know that I'm going to receive back exactly what I need, but I'm not going to have somebody like try to coddle me or tell me necessarily what to do or you know what I mean? Like it's just a different vibe for me than some of the other programs I've been in where it's like, okay, here's the training. And then this would work for some people, but I spent a lot of money, probably the most money that I ever spent in a container before. It was like massive trainings and then like a massive amount of journaling, like so much journaling. And I am not a journaler. Like I resist that so bad. And I was just like, I just
Unfortunately, someone
cannot.
tells me I have to.
Oh, it was just, and I felt so bad because it was a lovely human like holding the space and she was brilliant at what she did, but it just was not, just did not work for me at all. And so this felt like the complete opposite. There was like a permission slip in a different direction that came along with this space of like, okay, I get to just come in here, I get to receive. I know that at this point, I was like, I know that I already have what I need inside of me. I just need to be in a safe space to start to express it and put it out into the world and be encouraged to do that in a way that is in total alignment with like who I actually am. I feel like I'm still discovering that. I wouldn't say that I have that like completely figured out,
Oh, there's
but yeah,
always though. That's kind of like
yeah,
the work of the lifetime, isn't it? Although
mhm,
that kind of is my jam. I love to help
yeah,
peel away
yeah,
all the layers. I really think that's all it is. It's not like I don't need to read you and tell you who you are. Deep down, you already know that. And it's just
yeah,
that whole like admitting it, isn't it? Admitting that I'm fabulous, admitting that I'm amazing, admitting that I'm ready.
yeah.
Letting go of
And
the old stories. Yeah,
Mm.
that's
I
so
love that I
cool.
can also just like go into like the library of all of the things. And I always just like I try and work through some things kind of, you know, in order if there's like in the little sections. But whatever I land on is perfect. Whatever I land on, whatever story you're sharing in it, whatever activation that ends up happening in it, like that's exactly what I needed. And it gets me past something. Like it helps me through something every time, or it just gives me something that I didn't know I quite needed yet. And then I'm like, oh, there it is. Like all of a sudden something's flowing and showing up different. I'm showing up differently, whether it's in my business or in my marriage or in my parenting. Like it's just, you know,
Amazing. This is very affirming for me as well. Thank you.
that's
Amazing.
good.
So cool. And yeah, so it is. It's very unique being a manifestor. And I think that's why reached out with the invitation to you because I could, yeah, almost kind of sense the story around the experience and everything that you've been journeying with in your life around energy and feeling tapped out
Mhm.
or we get into that too much not enough cycle with our energy and then that is reflected over in the bank account or in other areas of life and I've been journeyed with that so deeply myself as well, so learning not to like gaslight ourselves as manifestors but then also not falling into that trap of like my human design means that I can only be this or do
Yeah.
that. Like I've had some really talented body workers tap into my body and just go, Debbie, you've got an uncanny amount of energy just pouring
Mm.
into you. So oftentimes it can be just finding out whether we need to open up more gateways for more expression to get that energy flowing. Because sometimes it's actually that the manifestors, we've got so much energy. So when we're in it,
Oh.
it's like maybe we need to open up three portals at the moment. And you know, quite often think, God, am I like a crazy person right now? Because I've got three projects on the go. But then,
Mhm.
they and then you hit that manifestor wall and you've just got to lie down and leave everything as a big fucking mess for a while and go, my perfectionist is freaking out, but I am okay, I'm safe in my body. And my favorite saying, which you will hear me say in Soul Seed a lot, is, you know what, nobody died, right? Nobody died from us having 3 projects on the go and a bunch of unfinished ones, and having a rest and then getting back in. I think the key part is, for me, has been around, okay, I need to rest, so I'm going to remove all guilt and I'm going to
Mm,
really rest, and I'm going to do whatever I want, whether that is watching some Netflix or just sitting there doing nothing or taking a sleep, or sometimes I have to keep working because there are deadlines and things that need to be done, but I will like set up the bed office, I call it. So I'm still getting some rest. That helps my nervous system kind of stretch a little bit. So yeah, it's really interesting journey being a manifestor in business. Yeah.
hmm.
And how are
Yeah.
you finding your energy? Has it shifted at all? Have there been any key kind of shifts or drop-ins or things that you're noticing that you're gonna start doing a little bit differently? I know before we hopped on, I was just actually giving you some tips for your current challenge to help you feel like your work as a whole is actually nourishing you on an energetic level to give back to you, so that we don't feel like we're just putting all this energy out there in the world and not receiving back from it.
Hmm. One thing that's definitely come up has been like making it more fun, like letting it be more playful and not so serious, because I feel like this work, like when we're going deep into things and there's can be a lot of heaviness, and I often I'll be like, does anyone really want to do this? Like, does anyone, because I mean, I've gone really deep into my shadow, as we all do when we're on this journey, and sometimes I feel like I'm looking around at the people around me and I'm like, nobody wants to do this. Like, I just make the story, like I have the story in my head based on the people that are in my immediate experience, not necessarily based on everybody that's out there in like the interwebs or whatever. Like there's lots of us, obviously, if you're like in these communities, you know that we're kind of all here doing this. We all have an interest in it. But I feel like for myself, even just thinking about, oh, that's the work like that I have to do, not just for myself, but now I'm like wanting to hold other people in. I don't want to feel heavy walking into that space. Like I need to hold a different kind of frequency to be able, yeah, I need to have like walked that path and hold those codes and all of the things that you talk about inside Soul Seed all the time. But I have to be able to like have more lightness in my life in general, because sometimes parenting just feels really hard, or like, navigating things with a partner feels hard. Schedules feel like super busy. And then it's like, hey, where's the time for enjoyment? Well, the work's supposed to be fulfilling and fun. But when I'm in the space of, okay, this is another to do, and with all of the stories wrapped up in that of like, am I actually going to be able to have enough energy to get it done? And is it going to be good enough? And are people going to even care? Like, it's really easy for me to kind of like stay in that space without being like, okay, well, why am I doing this in the first place? Like, why I'm supposed to be doing this because it's like I've been first of all, given the privilege of having the space to be able to do what I wanted for work and create something that's completely different and that's totally like a expression of my soul that also gets to help people. But I tend to also like make it heavy, make
Yeah.
it like
Thank you
something
for
that is,
sharing that, because I think you're not alone on that at all, because um, there's so many facets to that, really, isn't it? Like, one of them is, for me, it was, and I just got the very strong download from Source, from Spirit, to be like, you have to put what lights you up at the front of what you're doing. And I was like, that's art, that's creativity. And I was thinking, how's that going to work with coaching and this and that and the other? And I'm just like, and I thought about it, and I thought about all the things that I've traversed in my art journey. And I was like, oh my gosh, like every single one of those relates to a piece of the shadow, and I wonder if you tapped into the Blu-ray Soul Tribe beings at all? I don't know if I sent you my favorite
yeah.
video on that.
I
Yeah.
actually like once I came in and I started listening to you talk about it, I was like, oh, yes. That makes so much sense. And also, for years and years, I've been like every time I take a picture outside, the sun is behind me. It doesn't seem to matter. Like I'm not doing it on purpose, but the sun is behind me, and there's always blue beams coming off the sun, like in every photo that I take. And something when I came in and listened to you talk about that, I was like, immediately could see all of those blue beams. And I'm like, I never thought about that being possibly related to something specific. You just think, okay, I believe in like obviously how spirit shows up in all kinds of ways, including and especially through light and how it shows up in photos. People are always tend to say, "Oh, well, it's just the way it refracts through the lens." You're like,
It's
yeah,
different for all
but like
different people.
no. So I've always really like for years and years and years, I've always just kind of connected with that as being a thing. But yeah, that was something for me that, and then listening to you just talk about it, and especially relating to like the blue and the throat chakra and how, including and especially with manifestor energy and how we have that direct connection to source that comes through our throat. And I have had a super sore neck for years, like very, very stiff neck for like a lot of years until this year. It's gotten a lot better. But I always knew as well, like tapping into it. I actually felt it energetically long before it manifested as a physical symptom. But I always knew it was related to just me and not expressing my truth and not speaking up. Like I have so much, like I talk forever around like where that's all come from. We all have that story in some capacity. Mine just felt really extreme because it felt like it was in my day to day all the time, especially like in my relationship and especially in my just self expression in general and what I was being asked to put out into the world and talk about versus what I was actually talking about, which always felt watered down or always just felt like I just always felt gagged, like I just couldn't speak basically.
I love that. You
And
sound
so,
exactly like that's almost textbook like Blu-ray being. The reason that often it feels really heavy when we first start on our journey, and the good news is that it gets lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter
mhm,
and lighter and
yeah.
lighter. The more that we alchemize through creation itself, through art, and ultimately that's what an art, the act of creating, and what art does is it turns shadows into beauty. Like if you if every powerful artwork in the world is based upon somebody's pain being expressed into the world, right, and becoming something else. So that's the alchemy that led to gold. And we are specifically coded to transmute the densest, heaviest, most horrific kind of programs that the 3D world is ready to shed. So it's no small task, and even just knowing that in itself can, if we look at it in the right mindset, be like, oh, okay, that makes sense now, and it's not mine to carry, but I'm the alchemist. I'm the alchemist, so how
Mm.
can I keep turning this into something to serve the world? Like every single time I have some kind of activation or awakening, it's like I'll teach a masterclass on it, or I'll come into Soul's Eden and teach on it, or I'll do a voice note on it in one of my groups, or a live video or something, because that in itself is that process of alchemy. So I really feel like expression is the medicine for you. For me, um that's amazing. So the heaviness, yes, it is a thing, right? And we get to work with that. So the first thing is, yes, what, bringing in some joy in terms of like into the work, and getting really creative with how can we like start to weave what we really love to do with what we're actually doing, so that it can feel lighter, bring lightness to those spaces, and understanding your energetic configuration, which you're getting to know that so well. And then I really truly believe it is just dropping all those masks and all those layers, literally lightening the load of all that we carry as mums, wives, entrepreneurs, like, and alchemists. Like, that's quite a lot.
And
It's quite a big job that we're
it's
doing.
quite a lot. Yeah.
It's not, yeah. When I talk about multidimensional, I'm often thinking about that. I'm thinking about the 3D world
Mm.
stuff of like, never mind the fact that we're also, all the other things. But it's learning how to balance all of that, which has really been my journey in the last 3 years, is learning how to have it all moving at the same time, all the moving parts moving together. So I'm so excited for your journey ahead as you keep stepping into that, um, and celebrating you for stepping in such a sovereign way. Like if we go back to the start of the conversation, I think the difference is I've done so much work on my own sovereignty, and I've had a lot of experiences of, which I fully own, not making sovereign choices or giving away my power in some way to the person or the container. And I was like, how can I set this up so that people walk in feeling in their power, right throughout the whole experience? And so that's been really cool. And it's cool that
Mhm.
you straight away were noticing that and speaking into that. So I was like, oh, yes, it's working. So I'm super pumped to help each of you um, do the same with your own businesses, with your own
Yeah.
sales pathways as well, because it actually then it makes holding space a light relationship for both of you. There's no, yeah, when there's a need, right? It's gross and it's heavy and and it's not sovereign, and it automatically feels more like a drain. Moving out of that transactional, you know, um, 3D business model where it's like this is what you get and this is what you pay, consumer mindset, and therefore that's what you have to give me, into more of a let's co-create together as two sovereign
Yeah.
beings. And then it's like, and then miracles can happen.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
different.
What are you
And it
creating
just,
in your business at the moment? Tell us about what you are excited about, and what are you creating right now?
well, I'm like just wrapping up a free challenge called Sourced that was all about just creating a daily practice of plugging into your power, plugging into your sovereign pillar of light, and just making that consistent but fun and like personalized practice. Mainly because that's the thing that I feel like has made the most difference in my life, that has been so easy to implement, and that feels like the foundation to all of the other work that I do, which is a lot of movement and breath-based work. Um, I am launching a group coaching program in January. I'm still hashing out the final details, but it is called You Are the Portal, and it's all about activating your natural self-healing abilities, your intuitive gifts, and aligning with soul purpose. I really just feel like we talk about it all the time. You hear about it all the time these days about how we're going through this. We've been going through the shift for such a long time, but especially stepping into 2026, like so many people are just like, oh, I'm awake. Oh my gosh, I need to like do something. But there's things are really overwhelming. And we live in our heads. And that's where I've been for years and years, even though I had for many, many years taught body-based practice, like as a personal trainer and a fitness instructor and a yoga teacher and like
I did all
all of
that
these
too,
things.
completely disembodied, as in there was no soul.
Yeah.
They ended up
Yeah.
in pain, burnt out, injured, all the things. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
crazy.
So I just feel like I want to help people simplify the process of that and just be able to, the other pieces, of course, we try and help people out with like self-care. And it's so challenging for all the reasons for them to actually incorporate that into their busy lives. So I'm a big fan of micro practices and how to like weave those in when you're running the errands and doing the things with kids, and how that compounds and also helps to teach our bodies that it's actually safe to slow down and take those larger increments of time and go deeper into the shadow work, if you will, but through helping the body learn that it's safe to do that first. And yeah, it's just kind of what's kind of unlocked for me, even coming into Soul Seed, has been just a deeper understanding of what that work looks like through the lens of my experience and how it translates into the work that I want to put out and that I am putting out into the world, but that I want to help, that I want to expand on in a way that actually feels like really, 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 really grounded and sustainable. So
Mm.
that it's not something that we're like, okay, I'm going to do this for like a day or a week or a month, and then I'm going to just like forget about it. So that it actually instead becomes natural. So that it's like, oh, I've trained myself to know that my breath is my most powerful tool, and I just naturally use it all the time. Like, I don't know if you've experienced this. I'm sure you do, because you do such amazing breath work. And so I love everything like with the breath work and the Kanika. I just find it's activating so much of what I've been working with for a long time, but not really understanding. Like it's bringing new awareness and understanding to what is coming through. Because before I'd be like, okay, what is this? Like, I don't really know. I know it makes me feel better. I know I do it spontaneously, but I don't know. But I believe that everybody is meant to operate in a way where they do just naturally start to tap in to those natural self-healing mechanisms that are built into our divine design that,
Mhm.
we can be
Well,
coached on and
so
whatever, but like,
it's such an interesting time, especially with all of the technology and stuff that's going on in the world, which it is going to also take off. But I know for me, I've been working with a lot of really powerful psychics and galactic mentors and things this year, and the things that we have unlocked that are going on in this body are blowing my mind. Blowing my mind. So I just want to say, watch this space, and you're on the right track. And anyone that's doing deep in the body work is on the right track because, yeah, what we are activating. And for me, it's like, yeah, breathwork sessions. I don't think there's anything that even compares, including, plant medicine journeys, which I've done some potent ones, but for bringing in the awareness of that, like we've literally got um, we've got all sorts of technology within the body and around the body that many of us can't see or aren't aware of, but it is there, is waiting to be activated. And so, I feel like we're kind of just at the grassroots level with what we're doing, where we're like, we're bringing our soul back into our body. That's a really good place
mhm,
to start so that we can frickin' relax and enjoy being
right?
here. Right. And so I love that you talk about doing that in micro bits too, because I was the ultimate rushing woman, like you said with the gym and like, doing all the things, doing way too much, but not being embodied with it. And if someone had said like, go, meditate or lie down for half an hour, I'd just be fully anxious the whole time. So I had to learn to do it in little bits. Someone actually said to me,
Yeah.
what would the shift be if you just did 1% more of that? And I was like, that I can do. That's where I was at
Mhm.
with the spectrum. So this is really exciting. And it sounds like it's really holistic, multidimensional, like it's a full wraparound kind of program that's going to support anyone really looking the same thing, right? To come back into the body so they can start to find it's all about energy, isn't it? Our whole conversation has been
Yeah.
about being
Yeah.
sourced by your own energy and your sovereign connection to source, whether that's making the
Hmm.
decision to join a business program or just wanting to freaking enjoy being a human being on earth right now. Because a lot of people actually aren't. They're not enjoying it. So let's yeah, bring back the
No.
light, bring back the joy. Love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Becca.
My
Anything else you want
pleasure.
to share? How would you describe Soul Seed? That's what I asked everybody. How would you describe
Mhm.
Soul Seed to people that don't know anything about it? They're like, what are you guys talking about? What is the Soul Seed thing? It can be
Uh,
completely off the cuff, unscripted.
to me, it's like it's an activation space. Like there's lots in there that relates to business and is a little bit more structured and like helps you to kind of develop your own processes, but it's it's really just coming into deeper alignment with the truth of who we are. That's what I feel like the energy of the space actually really supports with, for me anyway. And it's like this living library of Deb's magic that just like turns you on to that aspect of yourself. Like there's something about being able to just kind of like, I don't know if I said this while we after you press record or before, but like where I just go in and I want to go in. Like other times I do programs to be like, oh, I've got to go listen to that module. I have to go, I'm behind like so many. Whereas there's less pressure with this and it feels more fun. It's more like, what do I get to receive in this space today? I get to go in and be like, okay, what is calling to me? And I listen to a lot of it in my car because I drive a lot because I have kids with crazy schedules. But I feel like I can even receive the activations while I'm driving. I don't necessarily recommend that because it might be considered distracted driving, but I feel like because
I think you're okay with it, but maybe
I
we'll
feel
put a
like I'm
warning label
okay.
out
I
there.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like you're really present though, right? When you're listening and receiving that. So I feel, and I'm driving a very straight, clear highway. There's no traffic. But yeah, I would definitely feel, I feel like it's an activation space. Um, It
That's
just,
cool. I love
it's
hearing
fun.
that because I
My
was just
playground.
thinking,
My
oh, do we
playground.
need more structure and more of a system? But to me, when you were speaking, it's kind of like, yeah, open it up, and you've got like they're all little mini programs and mini courses, and trying to
Yeah.
just clump everything in smaller chunks, so you can just go, I want to go focus on that, or I want to go just receive that. Um, yeah, and then you can literally, it's like a box of chocolates, isn't it? I mean, a Forrest Gump
Hmm.
moment.
Really is. I
Salty.
love
It's the box
that
of
there's always
chocolates of the
stories. It
coaching
is.
world.
And you share a lot of personal stories, even in the more structured trainings, there's always like personal stories and examples, which I find maybe it's also because of your manifestor energy and I just relate, but there's always a little snippet of something personal from you in there that I relate to that helps me with the digestion and the integration or whatever we want to call it of whatever you're teaching in that aspect.
Awesome. Yes, I think it's a
Yeah.
manifested thing in that we are, or something to do with my particular design. Actually, when I had it read, they were like, you must tell stories at this stage of my life. People will understand what you're talking about when you tell a personal story. Because I was like, and I
Yeah.
actually said to the girl that was reading me, I was like, I feel like I talk about myself too much in my coaching space. And they were like, no, that's what you should be
Mm,
doing. I was like, okay, cool. Full
yeah,
permission. Away we go. But I know for me,
totally.
I learn better through, well, it's science too. We learn better through
Right.
stories than just having like 1,000 words catapulted at us. And I've got ADD. So if people just fire information at me, I'm just like, I literally don't know what you said. Information.
Oh,
Straight in, straight out.
great.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Becca. Thank you for sharing. Thanks for sharing about what you're doing, your program, and your challenge sounds freaking amazing. So go follow Becca over on Insta and Facebook at Becca Campbell Coaching. You can even, and depending on when you see this, maybe you can go join the challenge or join her next challenge and learn how to be sourced because that is where
Mhm.
it's at, right? Sovereign Energy 101. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you, my love. We'll see you later.
Thank you. See you.